Hello, this is Michel Leviathan Sorbet and you are watching a new episode on the Wojennik TV YouTube channel. Today an unboxing of a game that I have very eagerly awaited. This is a game covering the Western Front during the Second World War, which is called 2GM, which is the same as World War II but in Spanish, Segunda Guerra Mundial. So this will be a game covering the Western Front of the Second World War, and we will be able to play the Germans and the American forces, which will be battling each other with the use of cards, because this will be a deck building wargame. This wargame was published by Draco Ideas, and now we have the Kickstarter campaign, which was launched in order to publish a new edition of this system, but this time a system which travels to the Pacific theater of Second World War. So let's take a look at this Kickstarter campaign, because if you are interested in this system, if you would like to see this game travel to a new theater, this is the moment and this is the perfect occasion. So this campaign is still launched on Kickstarter, it's still active, you can take a look at it. I will leave you the link to this campaign in this video. Today I would like to show you the content of the European edition, so treating about the Western Front of World War II. You will be able to take a brief look at how the game looks, and you will be able to have an idea how the Pacific edition looks like also. The game was designed by Matthias Cazorla. It is meant to be played by 1 to 4 players, so it will be also solitaire suitable. It is a game which will take you from 30 to 120 minutes, because you will find several different scenarios, a campaign mode in this game, and the time of play will depend on the type of scenario or the campaign that you choose. This is a game using cards, and on those cards you will find some text, so it is recommended that both players, because it is all the players 1 to 4 know the language in which you have this game at home. Now let's take a look at the components of 2GM. I would like to show you them during this video. Let's go. Here is the box of 2GM, or rather Segunda Guerra Mundial. As you can see, the box cover very attractive. We are in the middle of a pitched battle between the Germans and the Americans. Some aircraft, some tanks, some infantry, explosions, everything that you might imagine on a battlefield. Very evocative, very interesting. On the second side of the box we have a description of the game, so we can read about what the game is all about. We have information about the number of players, the time of play, the minimum age of the players, the list of the box contents, the logo of the publisher, the credits, and also a brief look at the components and at the battlefield constructed and during a battle. Now let's take a look inside how those elements look like. The first element is the rule book for 2GM. The rule book, as you can see, is in color. It's composed of 24 pages, but some of them, as you can see, are only contents or publicity. Those rules are divided into different parts, describing, for instance, the game turn, then describing the terrain, number of players, air combat. So it looks to be very well structured. It looks to be well written, and what I like is the fact that we do not have very long passages, we have short ones, so it is much easier to browse through this rulebook and to find later information that you are looking for. A list of contents, looking at this, and yes, we have also some examples, so it will be always a nice addition to have them in a rulebook, because it's much easier to understand, to learn the rules with such examples. The second document is the scenarios and campaigns list. and we have really a lot of them because it's a document even longer than the rule book. And here we have the list of those scenarios and also of the campaign, so we will be able to play, for instance, Operation Overlord or Operation Cobra, Market Garden, even the Battle of the Bulge, and separate scenarios if we want a shorter play without connection to other plays. For instance, we can play a scenario called Bridges. Each of those scenarios will be described on its dedicated page. We have a map, we have the information about the generals, about the setting, about the special rules governing such a scenario, the forces which are available, and some special rules, because each of those scenarios can have their own specific rules. And then the third document describes the solo rules for 2GM. I really like this fact. I really appreciate it always when I get a game which is also suitable for solitary play. I like additional rules governing solo play, because I do not like games in which we have the information that a game is absolutely playable solo, but we have only a short brief description of those rules in the rule book, or we have an information that tells us just that this game is really well to be played, it's really solitary suitable, but there are no other rules governing solo play. Here we have dedicated solo rules, which is something very nice. I will definitely take a look at this one, and this also means that I will be preparing a separate review of the solo system. And then additional elements, we have two dice, as you can see, a green and a black one, 10-sided dice with a 10 inside of the 0. Very nice addition. Two little game boards, the headquarters used by both sides, the German and the American or the Allied player. We have some tokens, we have some counters, as you can see, small sized counters which will represent special forces or special units. We will have some ammo, grenades, some additional ones, for instance, maybe fortifications or maybe some machine guns. So all the equipment which will be used during scenarios. In the description of the scenario, we will have the information what equipment will be used, as I believe. The map will be constructed using terrain tiles, and as you can see, we have really a lot of them. Those are double-sided, so the number of configurations and the number of battlefields possible to be constructed with those will be huge. We have some terrain tiles on which we have the predominant type of the terrain will be water. Those will be used, as I believe, during the Overlord scenarios, but we have also some other ones with some woods, some rivers, some flat terrain. Here we have also a lake or a pond, and etc. So really a lot of them. On each of those tiles we have also a cross on the middle, which will separate the tile into different sectors. As you can see, those sectors will be could be covered by cards, both terrain cards and unit cards. And how those cards look like. So we receive two huge stacks of cards. The first one, as you can see, is already opened. We have some generals, both German and American. So we have, for instance, General von Rundstedt, we have General Taylor, Bradley, some help cards, additional equipment. We have some terrain features, for instance, a bridge or here a landing craft. We have a communication tower. We have some ruins. We have also some ruined houses. As you can see, the cards are double-sided, just as the terrain tiles. So we have different terrain features which will be used during gameplay. Those cards are also unit cards, as you can see, with an American cover. So we have some units, for instance, a heavy infantry unit with some additional information, some parameters, some special abilities, a lot of symbols, but all of them will be described in the rules. Special forces, we have also some vehicles. So for instance, the M8 Greyhound will be here. We have the Stuart, tank, we have the Sherman tank, the Jackson, the M1, M3, and all additional units, even aircraft, for instance the B-55 Mitchell or the B-17 Flying Fortress. So a lot of additional units, paratroopers, and cards which will be used also during gameplay to influence the course of battle. Now the second stack will have German cards and some American cards also, for instance a command group. As you can see, the structure of those cards will be the same, with a fantastic artwork on each and every of those cards. And those are all the elements enclosed in the box of Segunda Guerra Mundial. Let's pass on to a short conclusion. The elements enclosed in the box of 2GM are really outstanding. I love the artwork. This is a very attractive artwork. It's an artwork which reminds me, for instance, of the heroes of Normandy. So this is a special type of artwork. It's not an artwork which tries to be very historically accurate. It's rather something of a comic style used, and I like this artwork because it is something that really suits me. Now I like the fact that you receive really a lot of scenarios, few campaigns also to play, so the diversity of the possibilities will be very big. I really appreciate also the fact that you receive a separate booklet which will explain how to play this game solo. I love games which have a solo mode. I love games in which this solo mode is something developed, something which works quite differently than the standard mode. So those were the components of 2GM Segunda Guerra Mundial from Draco Ideas. I remind you that currently there is the campaign on Kickstarter which is launched in order to publish the Pacific version of this system. If you want to take a look at it, just look at the description of this video. You will find the link directly to this campaign. I also invite you to look at our other materials. We have reviews, we have unboxings, and I hope that you will revisit our YouTube channel in some time. Have a fantastic day and see you next time.